I'm on my way back home after the weekend of the medieval reenactment event. So I've got a little bit of time today before I have to be back in Bendigo. Go back to plan A, which is exploring the area between Lionville and Glen Lyon. There's a bunch of creeks there that I've driven past I don't know how many times, and I always said to myself, I should stop and check. Should get my pram down here, I should stop and check and see if there's anything there. Further downstream, I've come about 3 or 4 k's downstream now, and it's steeper. We're off the top of the dividing range, we're now on the slopes. We're also away from the basalt red soils, those heavily fertile volcanic soils, and now things are starting to look really interesting. Bedrock sticking out of the ridge, the side of the gully here, and it's coming down in some sort of pattern to end up with this feature here, which doesn't look like bedrock, but it is a pretty huge obstruction. The water is still very deep though just here. That's a good 2 foot. If I start digging into that gravel hole, I'm going to be up to my waist in very short order. And part of the reason for that is, again, the confinement of the sides, and we've got relatively high flow. Another big part of it is things like this, which are restricting the flow, partially damming it. But just up here, we've got a bit of a waterfall, set of rapids. It doesn't look like there's any bedrock there, but there are some really nice collections of gravel in the back there. And this is a bedrock feature coming down into here. And what could be interesting is this fallen tree. Geez, this is where I'd love a metal detector, because I would love to put a detector across this root ball here. This tree's been down for quite some, oh, far out. That's a blackwood. Jeez Louise. That is beautiful timber in that, but beautiful timber. It would be highly illegal for someone to take that, which means I won't be doing it. I've got legal blackwood I can get to mill, so there's no need for me to steal it from the forest, but that is a lovely log. But I reckon I could come back here with a sluice, because this is looking really good. The only question is there any gold in it? So I'm going to head back to the car. Oh, just one moment, hold that thought. You know, what was I saying about wishing I had a metal detector? That doesn't look like particularly mineralized quartz, but it's interesting that it's there, because this could be a continuation of those rock bars coming down there. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm gonna head back to the car, get some work clothes on, get some gear, but bearing in mind, I'm looking for creeks with gold in them. I'm not looking for gold. So if we do find gold here, I'll move on, come back later with the sluice. Because with this much water and this much potential, there's no point mucking around with pan, and I might have to invest in some waders. Damn, that water's cold. So gonna roll this big boulder out the way and then get into those gravels in there and then see what we find. And try and not get wet, because I do suspect the water is actually a bit deeper than it looks. That's a big rock. Before I stick my shovel in there, let's see what we can see. There's a lot of this sort of humusy dirt mixed in with it in clods. It's probably washed down from just upstream where I was saying before it's more dirty. It doesn't look very heavy. What's in here? Oh, but there we go. There's some gems, little black things, little red things. All right, hang on, got too excited. Let's try again. There's gold. Yep, that's definitely gold. And might be some, yeah, and some nano dots as well. Look, that's really clear. So I wonder what the hole looks like. I haven't done this before, but what I'm going to try and do is film with the GoPro at the same time as I'm using my camera to see what's going on. All right, so there's my phone. There's a bit of a delay. Oh, that was freaky. Okay, let's see what we can see underwater. No, we lost the connection. If I keep it on the surface with the lens below, well, look, there's a hole of gravels there. If I could get into that, and there's lots of chunky rocks that this big boulder is sitting on. All right, so we've got this hole here. If we could get into the bottom of that and dig, try and avoid that because we've already sort of checked that layer. Try to get into this layer, just here. And yeah, I think I'll do one more pan's worth, and then just to see what's there, and then we'll call this spot a quits and keep going. Whoa! Oh, that was nearly a wet boot. Yeah, this is going to be cold. Oh. Yep. And oh crap. All right, let's try again. You know, I think I'm down to bedrock. That's why the shovel's not. Oh my god. Shovel work. I'm just gonna have to try and be Zorro. Yeah, I think I'm down to bedrock. With a pointy shovel means I'm not getting much off the bottom. And the more I disturb the gravel, the more any gold that's in it's just gonna be sitting on the bottom. With that in mind, I think this is a waste of time. And now for my next trick, I gotta get out of here. That's the track going forward. We're not doing that. There is nowhere to turn around down here. So what I'm gonna have to do, I think, is come down the slope, back up to that wattle, get round to there, and then do a 90-point turn to get the nose around and then head up the hill. So I got round, wasn't quite 90 points, but yeah, almost 10. Good thing though was there was all these logs and trees, so I wasn't going to end up in the creek. Now, the last video I did of when I was working in this area, one of the problems I think I had was that I was too high up the creeks, too far up the headwaters. And so I was having to check every single little creek rather than check downstream, find some gold, and then work back upstream to see where it was coming from. Well, basically doing the same thing again today, because now that I'm heading north back to Bendigo, I'm on the north side of the range, all the creeks are flowing north. And since I'm heading north, that means I'm working from the headwaters downstream. But the advantage I have today is I'm heading towards an area I remember from a kid where there was some hard rock mines, and I'm not sure if I'm downstream of those yet. I think I'm actually upstream of them and they're further along this road. And so what I'm looking for is to see if I can find that hard rock mine and then go just a little ways downstream below it to see what I find there. That's the plan anyway. Well, I'm sure I'll get down there, but I'm not sure I'd get up there. Like the little Honda, it's an all-wheel drive, not a four-wheel drive. Problem is, I might have gone past the point of no return. Because that's a bit steep and a bit loose. Oh, what is that? All right, well, first observation is it's very white. It doesn't look mineralized at all, but that could be because it's been washed off, you know, weathered out. Oh, yes, look at that. That's better. Nothing obvious, but if this has been mined, it's not likely they would have left anything obvious. All right, let's go up the hill, see if there's a mine up here. Far out, I'm unfit. I used to run up hills like this for breakfast, literally. Wow, this is huge quartz. I'm not sure if this is a pile or whether it's a broken reef in situ, but it's a massive reef of quartz, if it's a reef, coming out of the ridge here. I'm not really seeing, unless this is a sign of mine, where they've piled all the big pieces, I'm not seeing a mine here. Oh, hang on. Maybe, it looks very narrow. Maybe it was just a test hole, but no, that looks like a shaft. Well, this is the kind of area I'd really like a detector. Got to get me one. But since I don't have one, I think my best course of action is to head down the hill and see what's in the creek below this. Because this doesn't look like quartz. This looks like some sort of basalt, maybe? Ah, but it's got quartz running through it. Aha! So my understanding of the geology is this would have been the original rock, and it's fissured, and then this quartz is formed in the cracks. So these are side fissures, these little narrow things, with that whacking great big lump of it, which is just over the edge there, would be the main thrust of the quartz. So, grab some gear, make a decision of whether to drive down or walk down. I don't like making decisions unless I have to. So what I think I'll do is I'll try and reverse up to about here. And if I can get up backwards, it's all well and good. If I can't, I'll have to go down the hill and try for a run up. But that is a risky strategy. All right, wish me luck. Damn, this could be really interesting. Oh crap. Oh. Oh. Yeah, don't tell Sarah about this. All right, let's go down the creek so we can find. And walking down here is difficult because it's pretty steep. Getting back up again, I'm going to be puffed by the time I get to the car. So let's hope we find some pickers in our sample. Now look at these big bars of rock here. The water's flowing through them. We've got a build-up of light gravels here. Looks like sands and stuff. So I don't know what's beyond that because I just can't see into the water. There's some really good spots further up. But the thing, two places I reckon it might be worth having a crack are in that. Because this is inside bend, it's going around over that way. And so in flood, the water would be cutting across that. And that would be acting as a really good trap in there. But what is even better than that, because that's quite a big area to get cracked on, is these little bowl things here. The reason I came down here is not to test whether there's gold in this creek, is to see whether there is gold coming from where all that quartz was coming from. And that's that side gully up there. So where I am here, on this creek, I'm actually upstream of where anything would be coming down. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough water in that gully to actually test the gully itself. So the flow, well, presumably is going to be coming out here. So let's see what we can, just go for a quick wander. Or maybe actually, maybe I could dig this. The creek's coming down this track. I guess four-wheel drivers or motorbike guys have made, but that's not going to be flood flow. flood flow is going to be more over this way. Oh, it's a lot of dirt. Right. Well, I think that's our best option for the moment. But let's see what else is down here. Okay. That's a place where heavies have obviously been deposited. It's really undercutting in that under those ferns there. I'm not seeing anything I want to get in the water for. Ugh. Well, I'm really running out of time. Oh! Scared the crap out of me. Those ferns are a good 4 foot, 5 foot high. And there's a bit of blackberry mixed in with amongst them, so it's really hard walking. So I think I'm gonna go up to the track, get my shovel out, just dig, 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 and see what we find. Well, I didn't get that on camera, but I tripped on that stick, fell almost flat in my face. Oh. Fortunately, my glasses fell off, but I could see where they landed. Oh, ooh, that's smart. I've got mud all in my mouth. Well, the highest garnet count we've had all day. But if I said there was gold there, I'd be dreaming. But what's also interesting is that's a lead shot. Well, that's me done for the day. I've had fun. Gonna hike back up to the car. I'll be puffed. Oh my giddy aunt. That success on that first spot, finding that little bit of flood gold. I'm sure if I'd had a pump, I could have even got pickers, because the gravel and stuff was quite, I was loosening and stirring up the gravel from underneath that rock as I was digging. And so any chunky gold would have just gone straight to the bottom. And I probably left it all down behind there because I couldn't get down there with a shovel properly. So just that single, I think it was 2 specks of gold, 1 speck of gold, whatever. That is enough for me to say that's a spot worth going back to for further investigation. Wouldn't say it would to treat it full on, but definitely going to bring the sluice back, definitely going to treat it seriously. And with the amount of water here, there's a good chance that we'll have good water here October, November maybe, don't know about December, but once this water level drops a little bit and we can get a better view of where the gravels are building up, I reckon we're going to have some real fun here and find some gold, or at least get a lot of those little garnets.